right voices loudly take a stand. Who will lead the promised land? Promises flying hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take the mic. The clock is ticking, make your choice. Who you hear, the people's voice. It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025?
Hey, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Laura, and welcome to today's special episode of the Carterton District Council Councillors at Large Part 1. And we're here today at the wonderful Carterton Golf Club.
It's not with. Sorry.
Well, it looks like we're not having opening credits, so we're just going to get straight into it.
No, we halt.
Yeah, where's the holes? Where's the holes?
No.
Problems. It will be a little bit slower, but it will work. It's just
Just as long as you keep me in the know,
yeah.
give me hand signals or whatever, and I'll be in sync with you.
Okay, start off
I
again.
made notes because
Are we live right now?
obviously
Oh, hi everyone. I did not realize we were live right now, but welcome back to It's in the Ballot. I am your host, Laura White. We had a little bit of technical issues at the beginning, but hey, here we are. We are still trucking on, and I'm joined today by our wonderful 4 candidates for Carterton District Council, Councillors at Large, Part 1. We've got 2 parts today, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome back. And I'm joined with our 4 wonderful candidates here today at the Carterton Golf Club. So what we're going to do first, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to start off with opening statements. I'm going to keep an eye on things because I noticed that the screen in front of me isn't showing anything. So we may go a little bit over time with the questions because normally what we have is a timer on the screen over there. Oh, there we go. Look, it's back on. Hey, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do opening statements, and then we're going to go through about 28 questions. That's including the 3 hard-hitting questions. So on my list, I have Jane to start off with their opening statement.
Kia ora, my name's Jane Burns. I am a Carterton ratepayer. I'm a mum. My kids have gone to school here. I'm a local business owner. My business is Wairarapa Osteopathy. I founded this business 12 years ago, and I've built it up right here in Carterton to a group practice of 6 people from just me as a sole trader. I understand what businesses need. I understand what families need. I understand what ratepayers need. And I was motivated to stand for the council because we love living here, we love our community, and I really want to use everything I can to make good decisions. I'm studying a Masters of Public Policy. I'm interested in public policy as a force for positive change. I want to bring these skills to Carterton. I'm also on the board of the Osteopathic Council of New Zealand, so I'm really enjoy that governance role, and I want to do what I can for our town. Thank you.
Cheers for that, Jane. And Simon for their opening statements.
Hello, I'm Simon Peacock. I'm a long-time resident of Carterton. I'm an electrician and an engineer. I'm a business owner in Carterton, but our shop is actually in Masterton. I also run my own business doing engineering and other things. I want to see Carterton move forward, and I'd like to get involved with the council, making sure we're spending money wisely and doing the right thing by our ratepayers. That's all.
Now, just before we head on to the next opening statements, is your microphone on? Because I couldn't quite hear you.
It is on, mate. It's fastened on.
Okay. Yep, just double checking. Okay, and if anyone in the chat is watching online, don't be afraid to say, hey, I can't hear the candidate because we don't have a remote editor on board today. So, yeah. Okay, so Steve, for your opening statements.
Hi, I'm Steve Lawrence. I live rurally up on Mount Holdsworth Road, but I also pay some rates on some buildings in town, so I feel everybody's pain. I've run Elmo's Books and now Cafe in the High Street for 15 years now. So I get a chance to chat to most people around town. I'm a returning councillor. I've done 1 term, and I have to tell you that local government is a bit of a strange beast, and it takes a wee while to get used to it. People asked me if I was going to stand again, and I said, well, I think I need to, otherwise I've wasted 3 years, because it takes about that long to get used to how things need to be. I think we've done a reasonable job as a council. Local government has been very challenging, and I'd like to have another go so I can build on the lessons learned.
Thank you very much. And John, for your opening statement.
Hello, I'm John Footer, a resident here in Carterton. In fact, my wife and I have a White Galloway cattle stud on Norfolk Road, and I am also a part-time worker with GNS Science as a support specialist in science and engineering. I'm standing for the council because I'm now part-time. I have some time to put back into my community. So I think everybody should think about doing that, because a community, it takes, it's a big family, and you just have to do your bit. You can't rely on other people doing what you think should be done. So I'm here to try and keep the rates in check, spend wisely, try to find new revenue streams in the council. So there.
All right, thank you, candidates, for your opening statements. And now we're going to get onto the box questions, starting with Simon. What number would you like? You can pick anywhere from, I think, 1 to 26.
28.
1 to 28, forgive me.
14.
14, all right, let's go. Okay. Question T. T for T, I guess, because we're at a golf club. Okay. Carterton residents are concerned about rates. How will you balance affordability with the need for infrastructure investment?
So, interesting question. At the moment, we've got some big projects that are still running. The water, both sewage and fresh water, we do really need to keep those going, and they're going to take quite a while to get finished. We need to keep those moving forward. We need to keep the spending in check for those projects as well. We also don't really need to start a lot of other big projects at the same time. If we basically work through them one at a time, we're going to finish them probably a lot sooner and keep the spending in check at the same time. At the end, once those projects are more underway, we'll have money to spend on other projects and getting other things under control. So, Mike.
Thank you for that, Simon. And Steve, what number would you like?
21, that used to be my age.
Fantastic. I think everyone here is over the age of 21.
My grandma got given the 21st birthday card with that happy 4th, 21st, or an 84th birthday.
Nice.
Yeah.
And fittingly, it's question G for golf. We're at a golf club, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. How will you ensure transparency and accountability in council decision making?
I think we do pretty well in Carterton. All our council meetings are available to the public.
Mhm.
We have the odd workshop, which is public excluded, but as few as reasonably can, and that's mostly to do with commercial and confidence type things that we're involved in. I'm personally pretty available. One of the things that worried me about being on council was that because I'm in the shop most days, people would come and complain about the state of their footpaths, but they haven't really. But in this community, the councillors are pretty available to the ratepayers and the voters. So I don't really have a concern about transparency. People often complain on social media that they weren't aware of things that were going on.
Ah, yes.
But that, in my mind, is kind of their own fault. The agendas are available in advance. I think we're already in pretty good space.
Yes, and I can definitely relate to that with people getting grumpy on community pages. Oh, well, there you go. All right, John, what number would you like?
Oh, 28.
28, all right. L for Lima or Laura, that's my name. Let's go with Laura. Okay, how will you address broadband and internet connectivity issues in rural parts of the district?
Well, I'm actually in the rural part of the district. Oh, sorry. Yes.
That's all right, we want to hear you.
I am in the rural part of the district. It was interesting trying to get Chorus to give me a quote on bringing internet to my house, and their quote was 70,000. And I found it much cheaper to go to one of our local companies and use them. And with wireless, they're doing a stunning job. So the connectivity's there. They're local people, and they've been super good at doing what they're doing.
Alrighty, and Jane, what number would you like?
Number 12, please, Laura.
12, absolutely. O for orange. Okay. Do you support borrowing to fund major infrastructure, or should we focus on a pay-as-you-go model?
I think that borrowing definitely has a place, but it has to be managed really carefully. I absolutely oppose borrowing for everyday expenses, but I think if there's major infrastructure projects, I think borrowing can be appropriate. Sometimes there's cases where we might need to spend money to support our towns, the growth of our town, and you can't do that through rates. So I think if it's really addressed very carefully and decisions are made carefully, it can be balanced, but absolutely for long-term assets only.
And to the candidates, don't be afraid to use your button cards if you want to contribute to a point. Okay, so thank you for that, Jane. We're going to pass it back over to Simon. What number would you like?
17.
17. Yes, I can give you a 17. D for dinosaur. Or we could say Donald Trump because he likes golfing.
Who's both?
Yeah.
Dinosaur and Donald Trump.
I think that's a different show right there, but yes, I hear you. Okay, so how willing are you to work with local hapu and iwi at a councillor level?
I have a bit of story to tell with this. When I was at school, we were told all these terrible things about Maori, which was a load of basically horse poo, for a better word. They were put in a very bad light, and I think this was a huge disservice now. We have to work with them. They were here first. This is their land. I am sharing it with them, and I think we should be working with them. I think we should have had a Maori ward, but that's what the council need to decide, and the government don't want that at the moment, so they're trying very hard to stop it. We do need to have their feedback. We do need to have their involvement, but it needs to be considered with everybody as well, but not to the exclusion of the iwi. They have their place and they were here first. We must always remember that.
Hey. Thank you for that, Simon. And I noticed that the coffee boiler or machine is very active in the background.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay, good. We're not going to allow a coffee machine to get in the way of our candidates' great answers. Okay, right, Jane, what number would you like?
I will go number 15, please.
I will give you a 15. AB for abs. Is it fair to say Tararua District Council has deep...
Questions don't match. The correct question is, what are your priorities for maintaining and improving roads, water, and roads, water, and wastewater infrastructure?
Okay, my priorities for maintaining roads, water and wastewater infrastructure. I think this is really important, and something that I'm standing for is the really careful spending of our rates. I think that it's absolutely imperative that council is very careful with our ratepayers' money, and spending on our core services is really important. And I think having them at a level that people expect and people need. So these are absolutely core services for our community. I think these are the things that we need to be spending on first, and make sure that it's absolutely up to standard before we spend on anything else. There's been a recent decision on local waters done well that was just made a couple of weeks ago. So the new council will be the ones actually implementing this decision. So that's going to be a difference in how our water services are delivered.
Thank you for that, Jane, and I apologise for asking the wrong question. Sometimes it wouldn't be It's in the Ballot show without having a wrong graphic somewhere. So don't worry, this is the bug is a feature.
And it's what happens when it's live.
Yeah, it's just what happens. But good on you for answering the question. All right, Steve, what number would you like?
I can see it's going to be awkward towards the end because we're going to have to remember which one hasn't been taken. But I think I'll go for 22 because I'm
22. We were all 22 once. Okay, Z for zebra. What are your thoughts on rate capping?
I think this is, what do we call it? A canard. It's the easiest thing in the world for any council to cap rates to whatever figures determined, because you can manipulate the amount of rates you need to collect through additional borrowing, through cutting services, through charging more money for people to tip things at the dump. Most councils around the world who've been are trying to implement rates capping have created more problems than they were ever trying to solve. The key issue is to keep rates at the minimum level that's commensurate with providing what the ratepayers have said that they want. I mean, poor old Central Hawke's Bay in the wake of Cyclone Gabrielle, they've had colossal rate increases because otherwise they wouldn't have any bridges. And if they were stuck with 3%, you wouldn't be able to get around the place. So I think it's all nonsense.
Alrighty, and John, what number would you like?
27.
27. I can give you a 27. Question J. J for jelly bean. Let's get that one. Okay. Do you believe council spending priorities need to change? If so, what would you adjust?
I actually think the council's spending priorities over the last term, or 2 terms actually, has been pretty spot on. Yes, the rates have gone up, and they've got a lot achieved, especially with the wastewater plant and things like that down the south end of Carterton there. So I don't think there's too much of a problem with that.
All right, short and simple. That's what we like. Okay. John, what number would you like?
Oh,
Yeah, it's back to you again.
well, 26.
26. Yep. C. C for Carterton. Yes.
Or you can do Clearville as well.
Clearville, Carterton. We've got all the C's around here. Okay, so what initiatives would you support to protect the environment and natural resources in the district?
Ooh, that's actually a very good question. All of those are important, and we're super lucky to have the Wairarapa Park up the end here of the road with Mount Holdsworth, and that's a gem. And our parks and things, around, especially up towards Gladstone there, they're all valuable, and they should be kept up. But again, watch the costs on doing that. That's all.
Alrighty, and Steve, what number would you like?
23.
23. Yes, I can give you a 23. Okay, question A. A for Apple. Do you support political party endorsement of local government candidates?
No. One of the things, we've had our issues around the Carterton Council table, but one of the things that has not intruded has been any form of politics. I think I can guess where people lean, but it's never entered into any aspect of any decision we've had to make. I understand that, for instance, if you want to wear the label of some political parties, then you're obliged to toe the party line on issues that they tell you to vote on. We can't afford that in a district like this. I just think it's a recipe for disaster and division.
Alrighty, and Jane. Oh, we have a button, do we?
That was me.
Yes, use your button, sir.
I fully agree. I fully agree with what Steve's just said. There is absolutely no place for political, the main political parties being involved in local government.
Alrighty. Nick's happy. He loves clapping. He loves clapping. All right, Jane, what number would you like?
25, please.
25. Have I done 25? No, I haven't done 25. We can do 25. Okay, question E. E for elephant. How will you balance key local projects, including community amenities, with fiscally responsible budgeting?
I think this is one of the key challenges for councils in this high inflation environment. How do we actually balance our spending priorities? So I think it is a challenge. As I said in my last answer, my approach is to focus on the core responsibilities first, prioritising essential services, roads, water, waste, core community infrastructure, before funding new or non-essential projects. I think I'm also interested in pushing for efficiency reviews of council operations, again with the local waters done well decision that's just been made. The council's going to be losing 40% of their core business. There's going to be big changes anyway. We can look at restructuring through an efficiency lens. And then at the same time, we do need to listen to residents and understand what's important to them and focus spending around that as well.
Thank you for that, Jane. And Simon, what number would you like?
17.
17. Yep, I can give you 17. Okay, question B. B for banana. How will you ensure that economic growth benefits all parts of the district, including rural communities?
It's kind of a split question with that. The rural community has been the backbone of Carterton for quite a many year. We have a main employer being the bacon works, but that I don't think is going to be the future of Carterton. We really need to be looking at what our kids are going to be doing, and at the moment they are leaving. We need to focus on how we can keep the kids here. That will improve the overall economics of Carterton, but that is not going to be rural. That is going to be city focused, or town focused rather. We need to be planning how we can do this, how we can organize the whole lot together and not disadvantage one group in favor of the other. It's going to be a challenge, but that's what a lot of rural towns are going to be facing. But we should be facing it as a community and looking how we can involve all parts, be creative, be end of quote time.
I was going to say, I remember when bacon was like the hip food. I remember when they had the bacon memes out there amongst the millennials.
Has it changed?
Yeah. It's no longer the food trend. I think now it's like boba tea or something. Alrighty, Steve, what number would you like?
Have we had one?
Oh, no, we actually haven't had a one, and I can give you that. Okay. Question M. M for monkey. M for Masterton.
Oh, sorry. That's a naughty word in Carterton.
Oh, damn it. Am I going to get chased out of town? Okay.
We call it Carterton North.
Yeah, Carterton. There we go. Carterton North. Alrighty. Okay. So, with the rising cost of living, what strategies will you support to keep rates affordable while still delivering core services?
No idea, really. Seriously, no one's got any idea.
That's a fair answer.
We're going to have some options soon. As Jane said, we're in about 18 months or so, when our assets transfer to the new water services entity, we're going to get a significant rates reduction in Carterton. People are, however, going to be stuck with a fair size water bill instead. It should roughly balance out, but it does mean that this council will be in a position with negative net debt and assets in reasonable shape. So it's going to be up to the new council just to keep a very careful eye on every dollar that's spent, because they will in fact have a little bit more freedom. But we'll just have to see how that shakes out.
Alrighty, thank you for that, Steve. And Jane, what number would you like?
Number 3, please.
Yes, I can give you a 3. Q for Queen. Yes, we have a queen in the room. Jane.
Yay.
Yes. What new tools or processes would you introduce to make the council more transparent and accountable to the community?
Yeah, this is an interesting one, and as a new candidate, it's been a very steep learning curve getting up to speed with everything, all of the local issues. And from what I can see, I would agree. And Steve mentioned this earlier. I feel like the council actually does a pretty good job with this already. I've watched council streamed on the internet. I've a lot of consultation, extended consultation on the local orders done well, for example. I feel like there's Facebook posts, there's lots of information on the internet. I actually feel like they're doing a good job. I'm sure we could do better. It's something I think is very important, and I think, if there's ideas of how to do it better, public, what do you want? How do we do it better?
Alrighty, thank you, Jane. Pass it back over to John. What number would you like?
2.
2. Yes, I can give you a 2. Okay, V for Victory. What is your vision for Carterton's Main Street, or High Street South and North, and local economy?
Ooh, that's a good question. I love Carterton's Main Street with the hanging baskets of flowers along the verandas there. It's a cute touch. We've got all the Christmas decorations up in our southern neighbour, and absolutely nothing to talk about on our northern neighbour. So I would like to see that kept going, especially, and the little park at the north end kept as tidy as it is. It's actually a little gem in Carterton.
Alrighty, okay. Pass it over to John. Oh, sorry, I lost track. Sorry, Simon, I meant to say. What number would you like?
5.
Yes, I can give you a 5. That's what happens when you're doing too many things at once. Okay. We got U for Unity. What is your approach to engaging with residents between elections?
Well, communication has got to be the first thing. I'm usually out walking my dog in Carrington Park every morning. I talk to some of the people who come along there. You can always catch me there, especially if you've got a dog. My dog Thunder would love to meet you. Other times I'm available, and I would also want to be available to people. If you've got a problem, you can come into our shop, even though it's in the wrong end of town in Marston. My wife will always shoot at me. My phone is always on. I am on the internet, and I always want to be available. I want to hear what you say. I want to understand what your point of view is. And if it is necessary, if I can't give you an answer, I will find an answer for you. Let's be open, let's be honest, let's be communicative. That's probably the wrong word, but communicating.
Communicative. All right, Jane, what number would you like?
Number 7, please.
Can I give you a 7? Yes, I can. You've got better short-term memory than I do. Okay, N for Nancy. How will you address climate change impacts such as flooding risk and drought resilience?
Yeah, this is going to be, this is another hard one that absolutely council's going to have to address in this next triennium and beyond. It is a challenge facing our district. flooding and drought are real risks. I know there's been a flood plan that has been brought out in the last term, and that's a good start. I think we absolutely need to stop building houses on floodplains. I think individuals need to have information. Information is knowledge, so that we can make good decisions. I think that we need to look at resiliency. I think there are some regional strategies happening at the moment. There's the Rumahanga strategy. So I think there's been some good work done. I think we need to continue. We need to do more.
And thank you for that answer, Jane. Simon, what number would you like?
10.
10. Yes, I can give you a 10. X for X-ray. Okay, as a councillor, how would you work collaboratively with your fellow councillors to deliver on your promises?
I think it always comes down to communication. I've had some of the best meetings ever, which we call beer and pizza meetings. We would sit down with pizza, with beer, with drinks. It was very informal, but it's important that everybody's ideas are heard and that no one is treated as less than equal. It doesn't matter what is right and what is wrong. Discuss them. You treat people fairly, you treat them honestly, and don't call somebody a womble. It's just not the right attitude. Everybody has to have a say. And with councillors, it's the only way you can work together, understanding and being there when it's necessary and when it's needed.
I think we should mandate beer and pizza nights across the country, across all councils. Okay.
As long as they have cider.
Yep.
As long as they have cider.
And all wine.
Yeah.
You're going to have water and diet soft drinks as well.
Yes.
Oh, yes, as mandated by councils.
Yes. Okay, John, what number would you like?
13 still available?
Yes, 13 is still available. Okay, P for peanut. Why not? How will you support affordable housing and ensure it meets the needs of different community groups?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. Affordable housing. There has been certainly a tendency, especially around Carterton, for some extremely large properties to be built and not a lot of infill as such yet. Lower Hutt, of course, which I drive through every morning down Wairarapa Road, all of those bigger sections are now sporting 7 or 8 units on them. Probably do need to think about a few more units for people with lesser incomes and things. So it's something for the council, I think, to look at.
Alrighty, and Steve, what number would you like?
My short-term memory is not that flash. 9?
Well, it's better than mine. You've got 9. I can give you a 9. Okay, question W for Wairarapa.
That's nicer than what I was thinking of. Anyway.
I was thinking Wainara, being the sawmill.
Wairarapa, you cover everyone. Okay, so what experience or skills do you bring to ensure sound financial governance and decision making?
I have a commerce degree. It's a long time ago, but I do have one. I've had reasonably significant corporate experience. I've been involved with investment advisory work. I'm currently chair of the council's investment committee. I run my own business, which is of a reasonable size. I think I've got a reputation at council for being able to understand the financial statements that we're presented with. I picked up the odd gap in them over time. That's actually a fundamental skill for councillors, is being able to understand the numbers look at the financials and understand the implications that all those numbers have on the rates. I actually think I'm reasonably well placed in that area.
Alrighty, and the list randomizer has picked you again, Steve, to pick a number.
27?
27 is taken.
We're struggling here now. 19?
Yes, I can give you 19.
Okay.
R for radish. I don't know why food always comes to mind when I'm doing these. I had a very small breakfast. Okay, so what is your vision for economic growth in Carterton, and how will you support local businesses and job creation?
This is one of my main areas of interest in terms of being on council. We, as a council, contribute large amounts of money to Wairarapa-wide economic development strategies, to Destination Wairarapa, to the Wairarapa Economic Development Strategy, to Business Wairarapa. A reasonable chunk, about half of that, collected by an economic development rate, which I pay. And I don't believe we're getting value in Carterton for that spend. Those bodies come along to the council and report quarterly, and we just receive the report. We don't do anything with it. So one of the things I've been pushing for and working on is putting together an economic development action group consisting of local business people to have those entities reporting to.
Alrighty, and John, what number would you like?
3.
3. Can I give you a 3? No, I can't give you a 3. I can give you a 4.
That'll do.
Y for yellow. How will you work with the Greater Wellington Regional Council to ensure that the transport needs will be delivered to meet the extraordinary growth that is happening in South Wairarapa?
No, another very good question, and one where I think the residents of Carterton have had quite a bad deal from the rail system over the side of the hill over the last few years. It's been basically replaced by buses for about the last 3 years for most of the time, while they put the rails in the wrong place, and they're going to pull them all up again and redo them. So it's been there's a hell of a lot of money's been poured in with very little sort of improvement at all. And I think the new trains are sitting there in Lower Hutt, but they still won't fit on the tracks until they shift the rails.
Not the ones for the Wairarapa, the tenders only just gone out.
Oh, has it? Okay. Yeah, well, I knew it was like that, but it should have happened 10 years ago, but
Yes.
it hasn't. So somebody needs a rocket.
Well, I'm sure Elon Musk can provide a free rocket. Okay, and guys, don't be afraid to use your button cards if you want to add on to a point. So far, John's only used their button card. Alrighty, so Simon, what number would you like?
11.
11, can I give you that?
If you can, I can see.
11, yes, yes, I can give you 11. K for king, because every queen needs a king. Okay, how will you work with regional partners to improve connectivity for residents commuting to other Wairarapa towns or Wellington?
Oh, that's sort of a question that I'm also familiar with, spending quite a bit of time commuting to Wellington. It's been a real nightmare. You should try explaining to your boss that you don't know when you're going to arrive to work. We really need to get the trains sorted out. But also the buses, I don't think that's ever been a priority in the Wairarapa. There are a lot of other countries doing things differently to us. One that comes to mind was a call-on-demand bus. So there were no regular schedules. You went to a bus stop, hit a button, and it would call a bus. And the bus will take you where you want to go, not somewhere on another route. It was a rather interesting concept, and it worked really well. it's purely designed for small towns. There are lots of different options out there that we should be looking and investigating, things that will work for a small town like ours.
And I believe John wants to use their second button card.
I do. And one of the things we need to do is lobby very hard to NZTA to start a new route over the hill, a resilient route that doesn't shut every time there's a minor storm.
Hey, I can get behind that. Okay, Jane, what number would you like?
Have we got number 4?
Oh, can I give you a 4? Yes. No, I can't give you a 4.
No
can I
4.
give you a? I can give you a 5.
5's good.
Yeah, 5 is good.
Yep.
Do that. All right. S for super annuation. Okay. How will you ensure long-term financial stability or sustainability for the district?
Long-term financial sustainability. Is that right?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Just excuse me. One thing about me is I like to do my research and I like to be prepared. So I've got,
we love that. We actually
I've
love
got,
that. About you.
I've got lots of notes. I can't find that one, so I'll just go off the cuff. Long-term financial sustainability, it's good decision making, isn't it? It's really having councillors who look at the big picture, and it's not just like it is focusing on careful spending of rates, but it's also careful spending to think on the long term. And we tapped into the borrowing. Sometimes we might need to borrow for infrastructure for growth. Sometimes we might need to spend money for economic development. I think it's careful decision making, considered, and with a plan in mind. Yeah.
And we've got a button card. We've got a button card from Steve.
One of the things we have to come to terms with is that Carterton District Council district is already tiny. It's 40% of our business. It's going to be minuscule. So we have to seriously look at putting these 3 councils in the Wairarapa together, right? That's the only, I think about it a lot, it's the only route I can see to making this district sustainable financially.
All righty. Okay, John, what number would you like?
7.
Oh, I can't give you a 7, but I can give you a 6.
Fair enough.
We've got 3 questions left, folks, so don't be afraid to use your button cards. Okay, H for hair.
Or lack thereof.
Or lack of hair.
Being here.
Being here, yes. How would you foster collaboration between councillors to ensure effective governance?
Good question, and I'm sure that if I'm elected, that'll be one of the first things. There will be a get together to see who the lucky ones were, and to just try and start right from the get go, working as a cohesive team.
Alrighty. Okay, and oh, we got a button.
I'm just using my button just to use it. We've only got 3 questions left, but
Yes, we do.
I absolutely agree with you. I also see governance as multiple differing views around the table and respectful communication. And sometimes that might mean that we disagree. I think finding consensus when we can is really important. If I get on council, I really hope that that's the culture of the council. It may be, it may not be. We'll work on, whatever it is will be. But I do think that that's how democracy works. And I think, that's why I hope that we have a range of views, but that we can disagree respectfully and work together when we can for the best of Carterton.
And Steve, you're up next. We've only got 2 questions left, so would you like the top one or the bottom one?
I always like to be on top.
Yep. F for fire truck. What are your top 3 priorities for Carterton over the next 3 years, and why do they matter most to the community?
Our our first priority is to make sure that the amalgamation of the water's assets into the new entity goes smoothly and that our interests are protected. The governance structure that's been set up should allow for that, but there's a lot of work to do. It's going to be a big job. My second priority, as I just mentioned, really is to, at the same time, look at putting these councils together, which again will be an enormous task. And the third and probably the top priority really is to ensure that the things that make Carterton such a wonderful community are protected through that process, and that we don't get kind of swept away like bits of driftwood when the southerly gets up.
And Simon, you get the last question, but I will say to Jane and Steve, you still have a button card left, so don't be afraid to use it if you want to. Okay, so question I for ice cream. Okay, what steps will you take to protect Carterton's natural environment while allowing for growth and development?
Well, give you a bit of background. I was brought up in the forest and bird, and I consider myself to be a closet environmentalist. What it means is that I won't go out and protest, but I will learn about things and I will get an understanding of what's behind it. I love the fact that we have a dark sky here in Carterton. That is so wonderful to step outside. I have my own telescopes at home. I drag them out on the odd occasion. We're rural, so we get the benefit of no lights. We need to really look at this. We do need to keep an eye on pests and other problems. We still have a TB issue, not so much anymore, but that's rural again. So we need to keep on top of all these things. Watch out for possums, rabbits, all of the pests that we have here.
Jane.
Again, I'll just use my button card just because I can, but I absolutely think, you know, to be honest, I'm a closet environmentalist as well, but I'm also a realist, and I'm also see the big picture, but I really see our environment as actually the basis for everything. Without our environment, we've got nothing. So we actually, on a really big picture level, we actually have to really consider the environment really first before everything else, you know, and that's our everything. It's our trees, it's our water, it's our fresh air, and these are our natural resources which we absolutely have to protect. So, you know, I think that's hugely important.
Well done. And Steve, you still have a button card left if you want to speak on this issue, or we can go straight on to hard-hitting questions if you want.
Let's hit hard.
Okay, all right. We'll go straight on to hard-hitting questions.
Hard-hitting questions. We're not getting the money. What's the question? Because every candidate has answered the hard-hitting questions.
Now, for folks that are watching It's in the Ballot for the first time, the hard-hitting questions, this is how it works. You can't defer the question. You have to answer the question, and everyone will answer 3 hard-hitting questions. So, right, we're going to start off with John. Hard-hitting question number 1. Do you support the introduction of targeted rates for specific projects? Why or why not?
Interesting question, and difficult to give a position on it because I have no idea of what those special things are. But if it was deemed super necessary and the public in Carterton wanted it and agreed to a special rate to make it happen, then I think we should as a council follow that through. Normally, I don't agree with special rates, but there must be occasions where it probably will be needed.
All righty. Jane, same question for you.
I don't agree with targeted rates. I believe we should be incorporating these larger projects into our long-term plan right from the start. making deliberate choices around prioritising and managing our finances with discipline. I think if we plan well and organise our balance sheets carefully, we shouldn't need to fall back on targeted rates. And I think that's just fairness to ratepayers.
Alrighty, and Simon, same question.
I have mixed feelings about it too. I believe there are times when targeted rates are important. There might be some event which does damage and all of a sudden we need to get it fixed up. And it's out of the blue. It's going to be a surprise thing. But it can't go into the general rate coffers. We have to be sure that that money is going to where it's being targeted. And it should also have an end date that can't just go on and trickle on and on and on. It has to be an actual amount and set out and then told to people so they know we are doing this and this is why and this is when it's going to end.
Alrighty. And Steve, same question.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a misunderstanding. Targeted rates are not necessarily short term. One of the reasons that Carterton has a reputation for having the highest rates in the country is because we've spent a lot of money on the water's infrastructure, and that is paid for by way of targeted rates, which are levied on the people who have access. Slightly controversial in Carterton. Most rural districts, for instance, have targeted rates for rural roading so that people who use those roads pay for them. We don't do that. And that's a constant discussion. That's another reason why our urban rates are relatively high. So, yeah, I think targeted rates are a hell of a good idea because that's a form of user pays.
Okay, hard-hitting question number 2. We're going to start off with Simon. Okay, are you comfortable with the way the council manages its debt position?
From the information I was handed beforehand by the council, I think they're actually handling it pretty well. The matters are under control. The long-term plan looks positive, and the debt doesn't appear to be growing too great a rate. But we'll see how things go.
All right, and John.
Well, I think the present council has done a pretty good job in keeping the debt level certainly manageable, and that's up to the big changes coming in with the new to be elected council to keep that very out to the fore, so that we don't borrow outside our capability.
All righty. Short and sweet. Okay, Jane.
Yeah, this is an interesting question. Again, just from my understanding from the reading I've done, with the new decision on local waters done well, all of our water assets and all of the associated debt will go into the new entity. From what I understand, I think that means that Carterton's actually going to get rid of just about all of its debt, or all of its debt. So we'll have no debt. And again, this is just my understanding from the reading that I've done. So that seems to be like quite a good space to be in. I think I answered a question on this earlier. I do think that debt could be used for long-term assets that are really important to the town. But I think we need to be absolutely full transparency to ratepayers with any consideration around that.
And I don't know why Nick's been playing with the curtains, but there we go. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, Steve, same question for you.
Yeah, I'm in a slightly advantageous position here because I know the numbers.
Oh, that's good.
We are pretty well placed. There are covenants with the local government funding agency suggest we're allowed to borrow up to 175% of our revenues. We're currently at about 80%. So we've got significant debt headroom should we choose to use it, and we choose not to. We've been prudent. The rule we have is that we will borrow for new infrastructure, and we will fund the replacement of infrastructure and its maintenance through rates. If you don't borrow for new infrastructure and you try and recover that through rates, it's extraordinarily expensive for ratepayers. So I think we do a pretty good job.
Alrighty, and the final hard-hitting question, starting with John. How will you strengthen engagement with Māori communities, including mana whenua and Māori wards?
Well, one thing I actually would support a Maori ward here. I think their local marae and the elders there, they certainly have our environment at their hearts, and we should be listening a lot more to them.
Short and sweet. All right, Simon.
Oh, I'm on again?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Communication, again. This is always a big thing with me, that if we don't go to them and talk and sit down with them, share a drink, basically discuss what is happening with them, then we won't know what they are thinking. But we also need to listen to what they are saying as well and take everything into consideration when we're making decisions. That's the only way forward.
So basically, we need to have a big beer and pizza night.
We do.
I like your thinking. Okay, Steve.
Yeah, I'm probably a bit of a limb here in the sense that anybody who's followed the process of the last council would know that when we came to a vote on Maori wards, I voted against it. That was not because I'm against Maori wards per se, but because of the way the issue was put to the Carterton people, like not at all. And I felt that it's okay to talk to Maori about having a Maori ward, but you really need to talk to the other people, like the other 95% of the Carterton electorate who would be affected. In general, Carterton has very good communications with the local hapu, and increasingly with the post-settlement entities for Rangatani and Kahanunu. It's getting a little bit more complicated as to who, in fact, we should be dealing with. But we do have iwi hapu representative on most of the standing committees with votes.
And Jane.
Yeah, if you hadn't already noticed, I'm actually from Australia originally. I've been in New Zealand for 20 years, but from a lot of the learning I've done over that 20 years, I understand the Treaty of Waitangi is a founding document in New Zealand, and at its heart, it's about tangata whenua and tangata tiriti, two groups coming together and working together and respecting each other. And I think that when I think of it like that, it's actually it's just only positive. So I think that's really positively engaging, positively communicating, strengthening engagement between all of our communities. I think as a councillor, we're there for every culture, every person. But there is a special relationship that the treaty brings. So I think that we can use that in a really positive way.
And here's a fun little fact about me and Te Tiriti. My ancestor Iwiko was the first rangatira in the South Island to sign that treaty, and his signature is on Te Tiriti.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I'm his direct descendant. Alrighty.
So could we have some audience participation?
Hey, did you have a question?
Yeah, the one that it's already been partly answered, and that was in relation to amalgamation. On an individual basis, you supportive of the principle of amalgamating the three main councils to gain efficiencies and financial improvements?
Should we just go along? Yeah.
Yeah.
I am in favour of amalgamation. The reason is that what I'm standing for is efficient use of rates, and I think that absolutely reducing duplication would create efficiency. I think that ultimately it's up to residents to make a decision. It's up to the councillors to facilitate that decision. But I think that one of the things that as councillors we need to be absolutely ensure is that Carterton retains its character and autonomy within whatever new local government structure might be coming down the pipeline.
All right.
Yes, amalgamation. It's not duplication in this case, it's triplication of a whole pile of back office things which do cost money. Unfortunately, the three councils are quite different in the way they operate, from what I understand. The Carterton District Council has a reasonable workforce because they actually do a lot of the work themselves, rather than the other two councils which tend to contract everything out to some of the large firms around. So, and I've got a funny feeling that they probably don't get as good a bang for buck as what Carterton's been getting. So it has to be done with a lot of care, but I do support it.
I think I just answered that question before, but there's another aspect to it. It's not just about efficiency. If anybody's ever tried to get anything done in the Wairarapa, with a Wairarapa perspective, you need to get three councils to agree. And these guys don't know this yet, but when you become a councillor, you get sworn in and you're sworn to do the best thing you can for the ratepayers or the residents of the district. And that means you're on a bound to have a very narrow view of what's good for Wairarapa. If it's not between the two rivers, we don't want it. And overall, that's to our tremendous detriment. So that's another significant advantage we get out of having one Wairarapa District Council.
Yeah, I don't mind our amalgamation either, but as has been pointed out, we do need to keep our identity. We do need to still consider what is important for Carterton as well as the whole of the Wairarapa. There are so many services that are already tied together. The rest of them, it's just a matter of seeing what happens. I'm not overly familiar with which ones aren't. But it is important that we keep things going forward. We probably have the lowest debt out of all three. And the last thing we want to do is take on the debt of the other crowds as well.
And I just want to give a big mihi, a big thank you to our audience member for asking that fantastic question. We always love interacting with the audience. Okay, so we're at that time where we're getting to closing statements, and we'll start with Steve.
I'd just like to reiterate what I said at the beginning. What we need in a council is a constant refresh of new personalities and new ideas. We need to balance that with a little bit of experience. So the last thing I think the chief executive would want is 8 new councillors. On the other hand, he probably doesn't want 8 returning councillors either. No, we're bound to have at least 3. And I would like to be able to take advantage of the things I've learned and continue to serve the citizens of Carterton to my best ability for at least, well, no, 1 more term, not at least, one will do.
And Jane.
Yeah, I think that was said really well, Steve. And I guess really what I represent is a new perspective, a fresh perspective. I represent business people. I represent working families. I'm in the middle part of my life where I'm contributing to the economy. I'm an employer. You know, I sort of understand that that's really that's the role I bring. And as we said earlier, ideally in a democracy, you've got a whole bunch of people with all different views and representing different areas of life, but that can come together respectfully. That's what I'm hoping from the council, and that's what I can offer. I think really, you know, as I said before, I research. I'm a big thinker and I'm a big picture thinker. And I do want to do my best for Carterton because it's somewhere that I've brought my children up. I've grown my business here. We love it, and I want to do the best for the town.
Simon, for your closing statement.
Well, I'm still here. That's the way I
Yes.
look at it in the Carterton. I've really enjoyed living here. It has been a real change. I've lived over the hill, I've lived in the bay, but this is my home, and I want to do the best for Carterton. I want to see us growing and becoming a positive force in the area. We have opportunities. We need to look at how we're going to focus for the future on young people more than people my age. I'm from the history. The young are our future, and we need to keep the young here and being part of our community.
And last and not least, John.
Yes, thank you. Right, my closing statement. Now that's everything's been said, so it makes life a bit more difficult. But I am here to help. Well, if I get elected, of course, to help on the council to help find other revenue streams so that things can be made to happen without increasing the rate burden on the good people of Carterton. And I'd like to see projects undertaken quietly within the district. On every council building that has a north-facing roof that can have some solar panels put on it, just to give a take away from the power bill that the council pays over the many buildings that it does have. Anyway, those are just some of the ideas. Thank you for listening to us today, and thank you. And vote for me. There we go.
Yeah. All right, now for my closing statement. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, for coming today. And I just wanted to give a very special thank you to our candidates and our audience member. This show is 100% run by volunteers. We are not affiliated with any political party or agency, and we are backed by donations. So people donate koha, they also give through the Give a Little page, and sometimes they even buy t-shirts like the one that I designed with a nice big map on it. But yes, I hope that the online audience does appreciate this, and the reason why we do stream this online is because we understand that not everyone can attend a Meet the Candidates event. And this is about providing transparency and encouraging everyone to go out and vote. Democracy is so important. Please, we need more people voting in local body elections. And with that, I have been your host, Laura White. Thank you so much.